Hey everybody, I'm super excited today because it looks like I got me some new friends from Auxbeam. Have you heard of Auxbeam? They're a 12 volt lighting company. I love lights, it's something you have to know about me. They're a lighting company. I was already familiar with them because I own some of their products, one of them being a switch in my side-by-side to control all the lights. Love it. And I was pleasantly surprised when they reached out to me offering me a sponsorship deal, which I happily engaged in those discussions because this is such a good fit for me. It's a great company. They make awesome products that I love already, and now I have the opportunity to test them, review them, and demonstrate them to you. So without further ado, I'll show you what I just got in the mail. It's like Christmas for me. Here we go. So this is my new switch. It's an RGB 8-gang switch. As you can see, it's a multifunction switch, and I'll walk you through exactly what that means, and we'll kind of open up, unpack the box and look at all the contents, and then I'll talk to you about what my plans are to install this thing. Basically, 8-gang makes sense. There's 8 devices on it, 8 buttons rather, 8 connection ports that you can hook up to 8 accessories. Which is great. And I say accessories because it's not just lights that you can do. You can even see here on the picture horn, which will then lead me to multifunction, and I'll talk about that in a second. RGB, so the backlight of the switch, you can actually change the colors, which is really exciting, and have it match. If you're putting this inside a vehicle, you can kind of have it match the existing color palette, so to speak, of your vehicle. And the multifunction portion, you can see here, actually it demonstrates it. So the traditional on-off toggle, so if you're running, let's say, a light bar on the roof or whatnot, you can just hit the button, it turns them on, hit it again, it turns them off. The other thing you can do is if you have a few lights on and you just hit the middle power button, I know I'm demonstrating on the box here, but you hit the middle power button, everything will turn off. But then if you hit that power button again, everything that you had on last time will turn on again. At least that's my understanding of it. I haven't used this thing yet, it's not installed yet, but that's how it works on my existing switch. It would obviously make sense that that stays the same. This is much bigger than my other one though, which I like. My big clumsy fingers can hit the buttons. Anyway, there's also, in addition to toggle, so that's again, you turn it on with one button, one push, and then you push it again to turn it off, right? Like a traditional light switch would. Momentary, you can set it up so you hold the button and the light turns on. I'm using light as an example. Horn is probably better, right? You don't want to toggle the horn on and it just, or maybe you do, but that's weird, but you keep it on the whole time and then you push it again to turn it off. You want to hold the button to activate the horn. You let it go, it stops. Or if it's a light, you hold it, lights go on, let it go, it goes off. That's part of the multifunction, and then the other one is pulsed. And I'm really excited to test that. I haven't seen it yet. Pulsed, I think, is pretty self-explanatory in terms of what that does. So I'm curious to see what I can do with a regular light, put it in pulse mode and see what happens. That will be tested for sure. But that's basically the gist of it. Like I said, that's the multifunction. We touched on the RGB and the 8-gang. So this is a switch that I put some thought into it. I did receive this at least a few weeks ago, I'll say, and just got around to doing the video now and unpacking it and everything today. But I wasn't 100% sure where I'm going to install this. Now, what I did notice on the back, whoops, and that worked out. Waterproof, yes. So I'm going to put that to the test, I decided. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. You can see here max current 60 amps. You can run a lot of power through this thing, like max power up to 1200 watts. It's a lot of power, especially if you're running LEDs and such. That's a lot. The operating temperature is very comfortable, like from -40 Celsius. I'm in Canada, so I speak Celsius language. -40 to 105. So, even though I'm in Canada, if you know what, if it's -40, I'm not going outside anyway, so everything's going to be just fine. And the dimmable function, really cool, auto sensing. So similar to what your car would have, if it has a sensor that's determining the ambient light, so to speak, and it will auto dim the backlights or make it brighter in a highlight environment, which is really cool. Now, the waterproof feature is something that I'm really looking forward to testing. So I was going to put this in my truck or maybe the Jeep, but I don't have lights for those yet. I would like to get some, but the urgent need is on my Kubota BX, the tractor here. So I got some lights mounted up already. I just have to do the wiring and whatnot, but I was able to figure out a lighting setup. Those aren't Auxbeam yet. Those are existing lights that I had on my side-by-side before. Maybe, hopefully they'll end up switching at some point, but I plan to put it on the tractor. I don't know where to mount it yet. I have no idea how to sort that stuff out yet, but that's the goal. That's the challenge, and challenges are fun. So that's what I'm going to do. And at that point, because it's obviously an open tractor, no cab, we'll certainly test its durability, and you'll get to see it here on the channel. We'll be able to review it long term. Right now, I'm going to give you first impressions. Let me get the contents unpacked, put out here on the bench, and then I'll walk you through them. Okie dokes, we're ready. Here we go. Here's all the contents of the Auxbeam RGB 8-gang multifunction switch panel. It's a tongue twister, but it all makes sense. It all makes sense. There's something to every letter that's on there. That's all killa, no filla. All right, so here's the switch itself. We're gonna start with this. You know, this is the there's the spotlight of the entire thing. So you can see here the 8 buttons. They're all backlit, like I said, with a status light above it. You can see here on the box that the light will turn on when it's activated. So that's the switch. It's like it's some sort of metal, probably aluminum. Yeah, that would definitely be aluminum. It's light, but it's solid. And on the back here, you can see there's some mounting holes. There's the 4 corners or the 2 sides, and that's for the 2 different mounting plates that I'll show you in a sec. And then there's a track there to run the wiring through, so you can have a pretty flush mount, which is great. This thing feels really solid. The other one has done well so far, but it is in my side-by-side, but my side-by-side has a cab on it, so haven't been able to test any waterproof features or whatnot. For mounting solutions, you can use this mounting track. You can see on the back here, it will go right into this groove. 2 screws to attach the mounting track to the switch, and then 2 screw holes to attach the mounting track to a location you so desire. Or there's this one, and this uses the 4 corner screws on the back of the switch that you can see here, and on the other side. So you would mount the switch to here, and then mount the base wherever you'd like. So if you want that up on the dash or whatnot. I think I'll probably end up using this. Again, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to mount it yet, but looking forward to it. Here's the, it comes with, how many is this? I think it's 60. Don't quote me. I believe that's 60 stickers. I'm not going to do math in front of you right now, but that you can customize your buttons with. So once you've connected your different buttons to a circuit, you can then label that circuit with these stickers. The backlight shines right through the graphic on the sticker, which is great. So pretty good selection on these guys, and again, some blanks to cover up if you're not using them all. All right, moving on. We've got, we'll get this stuff out of the way. We've got some zip ties. You always need some zip ties to do a proper wiring job. We've got the hardware here, the mounting hardware, and they include this little screwdriver, a nice Auxbeam sticker. That's actually reflective. That I listen, I like stickers and I like lights, okay? And stickers that reflect light are an A+ in my books. This is where all your wiring takes place. Okay, so what you do is you would wire this to the battery and to your accessory or ignition source, basically your remote turn on, so to speak. And then all of your circuits that you're connecting to the switch will run into here, and then your switch runs into here. So this is really the hub. I'm sure it has an actual name that's not hub, and I don't know what it is. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a hub for the purpose of this video, because this is my channel and I make the rules. And I cannot open this with one hand. Stand by. Just like magic, it has opened. So this is the cover, the back side of the cover. It's got a fuse puller and some spare fuses on it, which is convenient. That just clips right into the base. Two-handed operation recommended. Here we've got the fuses as they're configured right now. So you can see here, this is a 5 amp circuit. You've got a 5 amp fuse, 5 amp, 10 amps, whatever. Now, your wiring, like I said, from all your different lights or accessories will come in here. And I believe that's where that little handy dandy screwdriver comes in handy. So you run your wires in here. There's a little track here that you can see that's open, that you can run your wires into the box once the cover's on it. Your power and ground will connect right here. And then this is what would go out to your switch. And this is what would go out to your accessory power wire. And basically what that does is it basically tells your switch when to turn on. Like if you want it to turn on when you start the vehicle, like when you turn the power to the vehicle on or whatever, you're going to tap into an existing circuit to feed power to that. That's very low amperage, just to give it a signal to say, hey, turn on. And then it's going to pull from the actual battery. You don't need a relay with this setup. It's got one built in, which is awesome. So nice and easy from a wiring perspective, and they really give you everything that you need. I'll show you from a wiring perspective what we have next. Here's the set of instructions. Very simple. I said next. I lied to you because I said next and then I went to the instructions. I am just a shame. I don't even know why you're listening to me right now. Here are the instructions. They're pretty thorough. You'll have to take my word on that because I'm not going to go through them all for the purpose of this video, but they're good. They tell you exactly what you need to do in much better detail than you'll get from me here on this YouTube video. Your power wires, here they are, your power and your ground. There are 2 power leads on here. You can see there's 4 red connectors, and that's really convenient that they do that for you. So basically, you connect the battery to the breaker. This is a 60 amp inline breaker. So you go from the battery to the breaker, then from the breaker to the hub. Okay, so now you've got your positive, and then there's 1 ground wire to complete that circuit. So that energizes this, that gives it the power supply directly from the battery to feed all the circuits. Now, you typically don't want that to be constantly live. Sometimes you do. It depends on, I guess, your use case. But if you want this thing to turn on with the ignition of the vehicle, so it doesn't always have power and has parasitic draw to your battery or whatnot, then that's where this comes in. So this, like I said, this little connector will plug in here, nice and simple, just plug and play. And you'll get a loose end on the other end here. You can see it right here. That's going to connect to here. So you crimp that in. And this connector, you can see it. I guess I should have taken it out of the plastic bag, but basically you can, out of your existing fuse box on your vehicle, you would pull out your 5 amp. This has a 5 amp breaker in it, or fuse rather. So you would take your accessory fuse out, replace it with this, which would then give you access to, this would energize this to give your remote turn on function, and it gives you an extra fuse holder there to put your original fuse back into it so you don't lose any circuits in your vehicle. I hope that made sense because that sounded really messy. This plugs into your fuse box. You take the fuse that you pulled out, you put it back in here. That's it. I don't know why I made that more complicated than I had to. I apologize. That's how that works. Okay, moving on. This is your wire that would connect. It plugs in right here. Plug and play, like I said. And then the other side, right here, connects to the switch. So this is your main wire that's going to run from the hub to the final mounting location of the switch. Okay, so all the wiring from all the circuits goes in here. One wire going from here to here, which would either be through the firewall of the vehicle, wherever you're going to run it. And that's a nice shielded wire. I like that. And that's really where you're going to have most of your run. These cables are not as long. You want your main power source, like your battery, to be located relatively close to your hub. And you've got some extra distance here that you can run to mount the actual switch. So that's it in a nutshell. I think I covered it all. I am very excited to get this thing hooked up and wired up, start to use it, and I will give you more information as that happens. Like once it is hooked up, I'll put out another video basically to review it and to show its operation. But this is, like I said, the Auxbeam RGB 8-gang multifunction switch panel. I will include information in the video description below on where you can find this from Auxbeam's website, as well as a partner code that could save you some money. I'll put all the details below in the description. I thank Auxbeam once again for sponsoring this video and providing this switch for testing. You have my commitment that I will be open and honest with everything that's here, because my integrity, I love Auxbeam, don't get me wrong, but I love my integrity more. So everything I say is my own opinion. They didn't give me any speaking points. I will keep it as my opinion. I will be open and honest. I'm kind of biased that I like this thing already because of the existing one I already have. So that's full disclosure. I will keep you posted once it gets rigged up to this thing. And yeah, I'm excited. I hope you are too. If you are, you know what to do. That like button, that subscribe button, all that fancy stuff. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.